Hey everybody, Matt Covey, Covey Real Estate, coming to you today, monthly market update video. It is February already of 2026. This is what happened in January of 2025, Ottawa, the surrounding markets, and I'm going to travel a little bit up into some rural markets as well. So first big thing, price. You're talking about downward pressure across all markets. So what are we talking? Overall around 5.2% down. And then your detached and semi-detached homes got exposed to around the 6% mark. And then when you went into townhouses, not as much downward pressure, 1.8%. Now we're talking year over year. All these stats I'm giving you are year over year. Your marketplace for the condos came down. That's townhouse condos and apartment condos down 12%, just actually almost 13% year over year pricing. So it is a lot of downward pressure into the winter market in 2026. We've had a very, very cold January. So I'm wondering if that may be having a much more bigger effect, much more of an effect on pricing than people think. But it is certainly one where there is a lot of downward pressure on pricing right now, stabilizing. So a little more buyer opportunity coming to market. Second big thing, we're talking about inventory and then what market activity is happening, number of sales. When you look at the overall number of active listings, it's up across the board. We're talking around 1,900 up to around 2,400. So the overall number is much higher. And in certain markets, there's more than in others. So detached, semi-detached didn't go up. There's inventory didn't go up as much. And your rows, towns, and condos are up a lot more than what you're looking at with detached. Now, what about transaction numbers? So your detached homes, sales volume-wise, you're talking about a number that is overall down 8%. Sales volume is down specific in detached homes. 8% fewer homes sold in January 2026 than 2025. But your row houses went up. I mean, there was more sales of row units by 8%. So people still looking to get into the single family market are looking at a more price sensitive entry than they would be as compared to a detached. And those people that are in detached homes aren't looking at making the moves. But again, it was a cold month, not a lot of activity happening. Maybe that's affecting overall number of transactions as well, but they're down year over year. Now, my metric of this sort of saturation rate and what I call, it's total number of sales divided by total number of new listings. So what did this saturation rate look like for January 2026? 40%, 10 new listings for sales for every 10 new listings. Go back a year, you're around the 50% mark. So one more was selling. And so that means we're driven sort of more towards a buyer's market than we were last year and the year before. You look at now, peel away the layers. Detached homes, you're at 43% for January 2026. Last year, again, 50. The year before that, around 50. So very, very close, the past couple of years. And now we're edging more towards that buyer's market than before in detached. When you go into townhouses, it's stayed fairly flat. It was 57% a couple of years ago, 63% last year. So there's some fluctuation there. And now we're at 48-ish%. So you're talking, let's call the average of those three numbers 50%. There's some fluctuations up and down. The condo townhouses and condo apartments is where the drop off is really taking. So a downward trend. 2024, you're at 50%. 2025, you're at 43%. 2026, you're at 35%. So a lot less selling in that market. So look, there's your three, pricing and then your number on inventories, and then your number three is that saturation rate, and all are tending to show us that be it that January was cold, there was still a little bit more buyer negotiation power. The only other thing I want to point out is when you take a look outside the city and you start looking at the rural markets, there's stability. Prices actually went up January to January in Renfrew County. I mean, like 10%, just shy thereof. Lanark, they stayed flat. They're down just a couple, not even a fraction of a percent. But inventories, number of new listings, all these things are fairly stable January 26 to January 25, which means you're seeing a little more of that, reserved market. It's already hit out there. There's less activity and in January, and that's held year to year. So you're seeing that more fluctuation happening in the city. Anyway, there's your update. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And if you have anybody who you know who's interested in buying or selling real estate, send them my way. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. Have a great day. Bye for now.